order of business is to approve the April 14 minutes. Anybody see any changes?
I'll make a motion to approve the April 14 minutes if there's no.
I'll second that. All right, moving seconded to approve the April 14 minutes. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion adopted. And now the minutes for the special session, which was on May 3rd. And if you weren't here, that meeting was about, we talked to the Paulina Area Trails group about a new trail out here nearby and how we could partner with them on that. So that's what that discussion was about. And does anybody have any changes to the May 3rd minutes?
I'll move. Approve it.
And I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve the May 3rd minutes. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion adopted. All right, reviewing of the bills on page 3. What questions do you have about the bills? Brian, the laptops that we purchased.
Yep.
My question is about Government Connection Inc. Is that just who the county works through?
We got it through Tony. We got it through Tony, our IT guy, and that's where he got
That's where
it.
you
Yep.
contracts through, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Are we not finished with the beaver bounding?
It's done now. So the season ended the 15th, so we accepted it on the 19th as the last day, the last Monday. Yep. So it's done now.
Okay.
And I just.
I'll make the motion.
No, you said it.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I know, I had a late question here in terms of the bridge. So is that all the?
That is from secondary roads.
Okay.
That is what they charge us to build the bridge, do all the pilings, set it in place.
So that's all the cost now?
Yep, that's it.
I will make that motion.
Okay, we moved to approve. Anybody want a second? What's the second?
I can say.
All right, moved and seconded to approve bills for May 2021. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, very good. Motion adopted. And visitors. Eric, we're going to have you talk first. The Paulina Trails Group folks will be here later.
Okay. I can do kind of like a proposal. We were able to just recently secure new inventory, and that was actually unknown until this week. So we have more inventory this year, especially in kayaks. Our equipment will be owned by us, will be labeled as ours. We would like to put it on the cement next to the brick shack, away from where other people usually pull their boats up on the beach, where we usually kept them last year. I think there was confusion with people just assuming they were campers' boats, or people saying, oh, free kayaks to take out. So the idea is that they're pulled up away from there in a designated spot, able to lock them, and then to have signage there that explains who owns the boats, who's responsible, how to rent, and how to contact us in the event. And yeah, you see there, that's the inventory that we'll have sitting out there. So it won't just be a bunch of used derelict boats, it'll be maintained by us, and it's all new inventory, or mostly new inventory this year.
And Brian, that plan's going to work?
After speaking with her, it's my understanding that she thinks that this should be treated like the snack shack, and that this should be bid out like we do at the snack shack once the lease is out. And then we have questions of liability that we need to make sure are taken care of before that can happen also. Sherry, I wish she was here, she had a little more, she looked into it a little better than I did, but the gist of it is that she believes we should bid this out, just like we do the Snack Shack.
So offer it out in the
Yeah, offer
newspaper
it out
like
to
we normally would.
Yep. And so,
And
I don't know what the timetable of that would look like, but I don't know if that is too late in the year to make that work. I'm sure we could see, what we need to do as far as like a contract for what the Snack Shack has, and then we have to advertise it, and so on and so forth for a couple of weeks, sure, to make sure that we follow that. We have to advertise that for a couple of weeks, so we have to do that. And then see if anybody else wanted to do that, and then they would have to pay a fee that we would determine. I know the Snack Shack is like $1,000, I believe, and
It's been out every 3 years, and right now it's $1,000 for a 3-year lease, and then they reimburse us for utility expenses.
I doubt we would have that with this type of thing down below, or down there with the kayaks or the canoes or whatever. But yeah, we would have to determine, what we wanted to charge for that, and then bid that out, and then make sure whoever bid it out had the liability insurance in case somebody broke a lock or whatever, and got a hold of the kayak and went out into the lake in the middle of the night or whatever. We've incurred it all before, so, yeah.
so, Mr. Brown, you willing to go through that process?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. I got a question for you though, as far as locking up the kayaks, everything, how would that be done? Is it just chain and?
Yeah, I wrote through, holes on a lock and a cable, essentially.
Yeah, so we'd have to think about how to make them as secure as possible, so people aren't breaking the lock or cutting the rope or whatever, and taking them out, right? So we could put together a bid out to put that, and so end of the month, is that a reasonable deadline?
The end of the month? I
2
suppose
weeks, 2.5 weeks?
that's possible. We're going to have to advertise it for 2
Yeah.
weeks, so we have to get it in the paper end of this week, and then have it for 2 weeks.
But even if the service isn't available till later in June, it's not gonna be that hot yet anyway.
Yeah.
So you still have a couple of months.
Yeah.
I'd like to request that, for 3 years, this would be the 3rd year now, and it's always just been verbal. Now, I'm the one that approached and said, I'd like to do this a little bit more formally and better, and so I'm absolutely willing to do this process. But, I've got people in the cabins hoping to rent next week. Do I still have permission to be renting kayaks to people out here, but just not camping them out here, locking them up, and doing what I'm asking now? I guess.
Come get them every night until.
Yeah, where I maintain it, where they keep them at their cabins until, they're over.
No, I think that's fine.
I'll be okay.
Yeah, and sort of function as we always have
Yep.
until we formalize this.
Okay, that sounds right, and, it's highly unlikely anybody else is going to, offer the service, but still, we gotta do our due diligence.
No, yeah, and I understand that, it's just the timing of, this weekend, I think there's someone in the cabins that have requested, so I would like to, deliver some kayaks. And
Continue as we have, as
Okay.
long as Gabby comes and gets those.
Yeah,
They're gonna, yeah.
All right, so just maintain communication with our folks and
Yep.
make it work. And then, where would you post a bid out? Where do you post that on?
We're gonna,
I would think the legal, whatever the county's newspaper is for sure, but I can double check with Rachel on that and Barb
Okay.
and see what the specific requirements are. And then is it a sealed bid? Is that what the board wants to do?
That'd be the normal process.
Yeah, because I need that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ask a question. Why don't you leave it alone and do this? You got a lot of stuff to cover. Why don't you do that over the winter when you're not renting this stuff out? I mean, we're already in season. Leave it alone for another year.
That's up to the board.
Why mess with something in the middle of the season? And so,
Well, I don't think there's any reason to wait on it for an entire year. If you're willing, if you've got the new inventory and you're willing to provide the service.
Yeah, no, I would rather,
But he,
Parks
you
are
know,
open until when?
October.
Yeah, so we got most of the season still. to go
but
through.
he's done this for the last few years, leave it alone this year and do your advertising over the winter and bid it then.
Well,
It's up to you guys. Either way.
I think we're being advised by the county attorney to,
Well, whether it's now or whether it's later, we need to do our due diligence and do the bid out. Whatever. Yeah, that will have to be done, whether we do it now or whether we wait and do it, in the off-season.
I think it's to Eric's benefit if we just keep proceeding with it now.
let's get it done and get things in line and, because he's not gonna lose any business if we're gonna allow him to.
He's still gonna rent them to anybody that wants to, but
Yeah.
just get this done.
Okay.
I think the potential for the service to be utilized a lot more is if we do what
Yes.
we're trying to do. And so, yeah, I think we do lose out on, access, if we wait.
All right, so let's just move into fitting it out and we'll get something in place as quickly as we can. I doubt if anybody else is gonna offer the service, so, but, again, we'll go through the process. Sure, we're talking about the kayak running.
Sorry, I decided to take the scenic route.
Okay. But we appreciate you making the offer and so on, and working with us. We'll make it work.
Good. Thank you.
Sounds good. You're gonna have a scan code, people can pay on their phones and so on.
Well, that's how it actually functions now. That's just a simple way to open up, you just point your phone at it, and it goes right to the website in which you would do that. Most people don't actually know that, or that's still growing, the knowledge of that is still growing, so yeah, it's clearly explained that you can call this number, we'll book them for you, or tell you how to do it, and,
That's something I wouldn't know how to do.
yeah. Next time you see one of those little QR codes, a little square, just pull your phone out, put your camera on and see what happens, and yeah, you'll see how simple it is.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and we'll have more on that next month. So, Brian or Amber, why don't you remember to call Eric so he knows whether they show up at the next meeting,
Yeah,
or whether we've got any other business and so on.
Did you have insurance on that too?
Yeah, we talked about liability, they're gonna have to have the liability and stuff covered on their own.
Perfect, yeah. I got an email from Rachel and her thoughts of that. I can share with you. Sure.
Okay. Next, Dave, you wanted to speak tonight.
Yeah, I just had a few questions for the board on what your thoughts are as far as Little Sioux Valley Conservation Association, where we're at, or where we go forward, or how we go forward, working with you, or if you want Little Sioux Valley involved with Grand County Conservation yet, or not, or what, I just want a general feeling what your thoughts are on that.
Well, if there's any way to continue to work with the organization, we would like to, but as you know, until this audit of Little Sioux Valley is done, we can't function, we can't operate the gift shop, we can't handle the money, so we're kind of at a standstill as far as, how to move forward until that audit is done. That's my understanding.
I'm also on the Little Sioux Valley, and I'm Dorothy Wagner. I'm kind of coming in here mid-term. I've been on the board for, I don't know, how many years? 5 years, 4 years? I don't know, but I didn't attend for a year because of COVID. I was being ultra careful. So I'm kind of coming in here, but I'm questioning the audit. What does the audit have to do with coming together and working with the conservation board?
The county as a whole has to be audited annually by our state auditor. And our state auditor has deemed Little Sioux Valley as an extension of the county based on how it fundraises, so it needs to be included in the county audit.
Okay, and gone on every year?
No, this is a new thing.
It's a new thing.
Yeah. She
And
just
why
said,
does the audit preclude us from working together and fundraising and doing things together?
it doesn't, the state auditor just wants to look at Little Sioux Valley, get that brought into the audit, and then see, make sure everything's the way it's supposed to be, and then go forward. And once we get that okay, then we'll move forward.
And when are we thinking that's going to
I talked with Barb again this afternoon, and she's been trying to figure out, and they won't give her a straight time of when they're coming. So as of this afternoon at 3 o'clock, Barb still did not, our county auditor did not have a set time from the state when they would be coming.
So we have to wait on that to say, plan the buffalo feed?
It should be sooner than later. I think we're one of just a small handful of counties that don't have their audit back yet. We're not the only one, but we are one of the few, so it's gotta be soon.
Is this just something that came up within the last week?
No,
Because I called Kathy a week or two ago, and she didn't know any of this, when I visited with her about this. Because I wanted her perspective on where we're at going forward, and she didn't really give me the answers, never said anything about it on it at that point. So that's why I'm wondering who or when or how, the audit thing came up. Because Little Sioux Valley as a group has not talked about this yet.
I spoke with Barb a couple weeks ago and was made aware of it. So I don't know when Mr. Shimmer was aware of it.
A
But
couple weeks ago, possibility, yeah.
And I knew the possibility, I just did not discuss it because I wasn't sure exactly where it was going to be at that time. So I did not bring it up at that point in time. And that's why I asked you to visit with Barb as well, too.
So our hands are tied about the Little Sioux Valley, it's just gonna wait until we get the results of an audit. I'm sorry, I must be dense, but I don't understand what the audit has to do with us going forward and.
because you're fundraising for a county entity, and so those funds have to be audited, included in the county's audit. So, I know, and you can clarify with Barb even farther because it's obviously her position, not mine. When she is looking at different funds and setting up accounts within the county's budget, she's always in communication with the state auditor, like where does this need to be, is this the right place? And they're always having that dialogue going back and forth. And so when Little Sioux Valley, they were having this conversation with the state auditor said, well, where are these funds coming from? And then they made the decision that it needed to be brought into the state, into the county's audit. So from there, I don't have a whole lot more information other than the state is saying we need to hold up. So when the state says that, I tend to listen.
If somebody dies and gives us $20,000, we can say, no, can't take it.
I think that's kind of what we're trying to figure out is the rules. I think that
That's part of why,
that's my thought is, I don't know, we're trying to figure out the rules and they're the experts. That's what I've heard. That's why questions to Barb and the state would be good. And I don't think, I myself am not sure of all the rules, how it's all supposed to function. I know how it used to, but I guess nobody's sure if that's how it's supposed to go.
But Little Sioux Valley doesn't only have to give money to O'Brien County Conservation.
No, they don't have to.
So if they receive $20,000, leave O'Brien County Conservation out of it.
but that's part of the reason that this board decided to set up a funds account through the supervisors, I went through the supervisors to set up that account. Basically, that's what I'm wondering, is that basically to eliminate Little Sioux Valley or what?
And they did that before 2 weeks ago, right?
Right, after this all came about,
We didn't remember that.
then you went to the supervisors to set up a separate account so that they could take donations directly without coming through Little Sioux Valley.
And that had to be over a month ago, right?
That's a question to ask. Yeah, was that, I knew nothing about an audit over a month ago.
So you, on your own, decided to set up these accounts
No.
with the supervisors?
We talked to Barb and asked her if we could do this. And because some of the checks that come into that box are made out to O'Brien County. And if they're made out to O'Brien County and not Little Sioux Valley, or if they're made out to Prairie Heritage Center, that's county money. And we can have an account to do that.
But that's what I wondered, is that you doing that, or is that the board doing that? Because when I asked Kathy about that, after that account was set up, she knew nothing about it. So I want to know from the board, do you really know what's all going on? Or am I not getting the full answer? When I talked to you, Kathy, about it, you didn't know that they had set that account up.
No, I knew that because it was published in the paper, and I can't remember when we talked. Do you remember the date that we
I'd have
talked?
to look back at my phone a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
But prior to that time, then it was on.
The account hasn't been set up yet, at least as of Tuesday. Barb said, oh yeah, we need to still do that.
That's not
But
true. I have the
talking
account
about-
number and there's a balance in it, so that's not
But
true.
I would like to ask, I wrote a check for some items from the gift shop on March 20th. I was instructed to write it to Prairie Heritage Center,
That-
and that has not been cashed yet.
Yep, and that was a question that I had. What do I do with this? Because that's how it used to be done. Then we heard that maybe that's not how it's supposed to be done. So that check, I
That
believe,
didn't need to be done because at that day, when that check was written, it belonged to the Little Sioux Valley. It didn't belong to the Prairie Heritage Center.
The merchandise was still.
I understand that.
So you shouldn't have
That
said,
check- that
make it
check-
to the Prairie Heritage
But I
Center.
didn't know, Mary.
One person at a time here, please.
I didn't know. That's how we had always done it.
Yeah.
There was no changes.
Well, but you knew you were working on a change.
No, I
And
did
you knew
not.
the merchandise was not yours on that day.
I did not know. I would never do anything ill will. That's how it was done.
You were working on setting up an account and you knew it.
No,
Yeah.
that's not true, Mary. Well, I'm not gonna argue with you, but that's not true. I don't know why you think you know that, but if I would have known that.
Because that's what you
I
just said. You were setting up the account.
would've- No, I didn't. No, I promise you that's not true. I would
So
have
anyway,
asked.
so anyway, at some point, we need to get, the gift shop, we need to figure that out. you know,
Yes.
Work on getting that split or divided or whatever,
Okay,
but what you're saying,
we did vote to eliminate it
we did.
because Brian told us we had to.
No, I didn't say
No,
that.
he
I
asked
said
us
we would
if we-
take it over, but then,
Oh.
I said we would take it over, not to eliminate it, but we would take it over, but according to Barb, we can't run it, and we can't make a profit, and we can't take the money for it. So,
But that's quite confusing to me too. You can't make a profit on a gift shop, because you can't make money. But yet, on the other hand, you can bid something out and you can take money from Eric
right,
to rent canoes, you can rent the county farm.
I don't know what the answer to that is, but
That's
that's
coming
what
from the
Barb
state
tells me.
auditor.
What's that?
That's coming from the state auditor.
Yes,
What would their name be?
I have no idea where it is.
Is it-
I think it's, I'm not sure.
I know, I gotta look it up, I don't know.
Okay, anyway, at the end of the day, what you're telling us is just hang tight, yeah.
Yeah, I think so, because, again, Barb's just advising us that, hey, we need to make sure the money transfers are being done correctly and legally.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all we need to work out, is just the details.
I
But
get that.
again, our hands are tied as well. We don't want to necessarily break relations, but if Barb tells us we can't have an association with you because of the way that money is handled, then we're gonna have to figure out something else. I'm sure something else can be figured out,
Yeah.
but it just can't continue the way it's been done for the last 20 years.
Right, and I get that, I understand that, so yeah, that's what I want to know, I want to know a clarification there on where we're at, where we stand with that.
So Roy, can
Yes,
I
sir.
ask,
It's unfortunate that things have to be so complicated, but that's the world we live in.
what handling is in question of the money?
Just where the money is supposed to land, and who is the owner of the money? Is it the county? Is it county conservation? Okay, but thanks for bringing that up, and we'll continue to have discussions, okay? And hopefully, we hope that the state can move a little faster on this, and we'll have some answers by next month. Okay, well, let's go back to the Paulina Trails Group. You're here.
We're here, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
We're late. Okay, well, thanks for having us tonight. So we're getting close. We actually have finished our part of the grant, the narrative part, and have sent that on to Beck Engineering. We met with the supervisors yesterday, and they discussed the line item for the maintenance, for the conservation to take care of the trail, starting in 2023. They did determine they couldn't come up with a line item because they can't, because that budget isn't being discussed. So we do have a little bit of a change in the trail itself. The Daru Corporation, they have decided to not at this time be a part of the trail. Their concern is the liability around the pond. And actually it was our concern also. So the trail now will go to the end of the railroad bed, and it will come back, and it will take a 1/4 mile into Jim Joe Sims' acreage or land there. And I'm sorry, I don't have the updated map, but that's basically, I think it will go into that wooded area and then again have a turnaround and come back. So at this point, with the grant will be in the county's name. We did talk about Nancy's going to sign the grant. The city is going to be the co-sponsor, not the co-sponsor. The city is going to be the, how to say the word is here. Ineligible co-sponsor is how the city, and I think only because they only want one name on the grant at this point. So,
Do you have any other questions for us?
After the meeting yesterday, I was at the meeting, and I was listening, and the county is going to be the sponsor, correct?
Right.
Who will be making the day-to-day decisions if this is accepted? Who will be, kind of marshaling this through the whole process?
well, we kind of brought that up with Scott, because I said, we've never done a trail either, so we're probably going to need some assistance with that. But being the DOT, I guess my understanding is the DOT and Beck Engineering will take bids, and then through the bid process, they will hire the contractor, and then I think at that point it'll be I think it'll be Beck and whoever the contractor is, and then with the DOT there, I guess the concrete will have to be every 3rd load will have to be tested. And so Scott said that there is someone with the county that can do that.
Yep, we have 3 individuals certified.
Okay.
So it's going to be bid out just like any other road job throughout the county.
Okay. I was just wondering, who is actually going to be in charge once it's
Right.
accepted?
But again, Sherry, the board approved a resolution committing to adding a line item in 2023 or 4?
23.
23. Okay, so that's worked out.
For 20 years.
Or
20
20, the length of 20 years.
Yeah.
So the figure that we've discussed is putting about 17,500
Right.
in there to start, and that's based on the 2% repair costs that Beck Engineering gave on Mondays.
Of your portion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
And
that's
we have
our
a
portion.
resolution from the city for their portion, that they will maintain for 20 years what they own, and the co-ops. We have heard from the co-op, and the co-op, we believe, is going to donate that land back to the city. the railroad bed.
Okay, now pending, so in our last minutes from that special meeting, we committed to $1,400 pending the action by the supervisor. So that's been approved now?
Pending, the $1,400 was pending on what account I could take from. It's not from the account we talked about, but we have $1,400 that we've taken from another account, so I've talked to the ladies, and whenever Beck Engineering sends us a bill or a statement, we will pay that $1,400. And also the easement, if they need anything to make sure the easement works, we'll be glad to help them out there too. Rachel's working on those, I believe, right? So, yeah, we're okay.
All right, so those pieces are falling into place?
Right.
Let's hope
We have a signed easement from Joe Sims, and so, and that's what the supervisors wanted. So they would then, they wanted to make sure that we had the landowners on board, and then they then were talking, go forward with the line item for the conservation board to be able to have that money to maintain it.
Very good. And you folks are still going to, are you going through the process of creating a formal group of some sort?
We are.
A nonprofit.
Mhm.
All right, very good. Okay. Great.
Just one little question on that clarification, maybe you know, that the county is gonna maintain the county portion, that's through the part that the county owns? Yeah.
Well, we're gonna maintain the whole trail, I believe, but then our portion of the trail, to maintain that for 20 years is $17,500 for our
Yeah,
portion.
but your portion is meaning
Where
the
the
ground
bridge is.
where the conservation owns now?
Yes.
And the trail through gyms, I would assume?
Right,
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
and the part through Jim's has been shortened, it's not going to be a full loop like we originally planned. He didn't want quite that much cement on around his CRP ground, so he has shortened that up from.
I have a map of that in my vehicle, so I will grab that after you guys can take a look.
Okay, any other questions about that? All right, thank you very much. Let's move on to old business. Scout Valley Shoreline Armory. There's a picture here. And again, at the end of the meeting, some of us are going to walk out there and look at that.
Jared's, he was out with his drone and took a whole bunch of pictures of all kinds, all our cabins, our bins, our lakes, our 3HC, and some of this is what we took up Scott Island. So we're about done. We just need to cut a few more trees, place a few more rocks, and we should be finished up. So take a look at it anytime. It took a very long time, but yeah, there's some trees that need to be moved so we can get to the shoreline better and place the rock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good.
Ryan's been placing the rock mostly, so.
Are you thankful for that bridge?
What's
Are
that?
you pretty thankful for that bridge?
Yeah, the bridge works great.
Yeah.
Bridge works great. If you want to take a look at it afterwards, you should.
Yeah, I'm going to walk out there.
Okay.
All right, item 2, volunteers and summer hours. We have a motion on this.
Yep.
So what is the proposal?
The proposal is that we keep doing what we're doing.
And just for
Keep
this,
working on just doing Saturdays. Yep.
until we get a
Until we can
substantial list of volunteers.
substantial list, because we need at least really 10 to 12 to make it work really well, so everybody doesn't get burned out.
Yeah.
How many do we have right now?
Well, right now, Mary's been graciously helping us out, and Amber and I and Abby and I think Dave Schroeder's helped us out a little bit.
This month he's volunteering one day.
One day.
And Janet Henning
Janet
is
Henning.
volunteering one day.
Okay, what do you need a motion for?
Just to continue as we're doing right now.
That means Saturday and Sunday.
Just Saturdays.
Well, you're doing Sundays, though, I've done them.
Well, we'll start just staying with Saturdays. That's what I'm gonna do. For now.
So there's no families that can visit on Sunday.
No.
Yeah.
So
What
that's
is-
what will, just like to do Saturdays for now.
And I think you sent it to me, I think to everybody, the pre-COVID Sunday numbers. Did we get that?
I sent that to you for board meeting, just to you, because you were, for the supervisors board
Yeah.
meeting, sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That was 2019, which would be my closest comparison here,
Okay.
but I don't have that, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Unless you don't want to make a motion, you just tell me. I mean, we should, we just need to do Saturdays for now. And
Yeah,
keep working on it, and when we get there, we'll,
With the goal of adding Sunday when you have enough volunteers.
yeah.
Has that been a problem where you would have more volunteers if it was just a Saturday thing and people don't want to volunteer Sundays? Is that where, do you find that out of your volunteer pool?
Not necessarily, okay. No, I wouldn't say it's necessary. We just flat out don't have enough people. Like there's 10 weekends in this month. Brian's worked a day. Abby and I'll each work 2 days, well, with the program, a couple days. Mary's helped with some days. And then there's still 3 weekend days this month that aren't covered. And the 3 of us have already worked. And Abby put out a request for volunteers to help with things in wetlands. And we did hear back from 2 volunteers that had volunteered previously. But our advertising, the newspaper, all our posts, everything, we just haven't had any response at all.
Did you ever call Dorothy or Mary?
Yes,
Mary just said you didn't.
well, that's not true.
I talked to
You have never contacted.
Oh,
me.
sorry, not me personally. I'm
Nobody.
sorry, I thought you were.
Well, because I was, Amber, you were the one I was talking to. I told you to call them.
I said that Dorothy had been contacted 6 times.
Yeah, but did you personally call her, make a little connection?
Well, I'm sorry, but.
Not just a blanket email. A lot of volunteers do it for a connection, like,
So the way that
A
we're
friendly
doing it is the
connection.
way it's been done ever since I've been here. To answer your question. I told you that Brian was going to speak with Mary, and he did.
okay, thank you.
You bet.
Did someone call Mary Thompson?
I don't even know that name.
Yes, I believe we did. And I think, can we get in contact with Mary, well, it'd be Mary,
Newell.
Mary Newell. I think we,
Oh, I didn't have the right phone number for her.
okay, we will reach out to her. Yes. We did try.
And I'm willing to go back on the thing. I try to do it 1 day a month, but I have 3 grandbabies to be born this
We get it.
summer, so.
We get it.
And Charlene always said, family first. And I was always very grateful for that.
As a former coach, and I'm just saying, possibly, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoons, you get, I have 7 grandkids, and they're always active Saturday. There's rec stuff going on Saturday. And I propose that maybe do a Saturday, but maybe not do a Saturday and try a Sunday from 2 to 5, because Sunday afternoon, all your rec stuff, and we're doing this for the youth of our country. The youth, we want to get the youth involved, right? We want to get our kids out there. If we want to get kids out there, I think possibly Sunday afternoon would be better than Saturday because there's so much stuff going on, soccer, baseball, softball. Just try one Saturday and one Sunday. Just try a Sunday afternoon and close on a Saturday, because I think Sundays are more, not in the morning, after church,
Yeah, let's,
just sitting around. I think Sunday might be a possibility. I'm just throwing it out there. Thank you, Roy. Sorry about it.
Good suggestion. What do you think? You want to do every other week? Does that work for you guys, or?
Okay, so my question is, we work really hard to get the word out to our visitors when we are open. So then, you know what I mean, if you're open, does it become confusing? If you're open a Saturday,
I
you're
agree.
closed a Sunday, you're open a Sunday, you're closed a
Very
Saturday.
confusing.
So then is it frustrating to people if they come? That's my question for that.
Could we do it a month-by-month basis? Say June, we're gonna be open Saturdays, July will be open Sundays.
that would give us enough time to get the word out.
And that will give us 4 weeks in a row of consistency, and we get 4 weeks of data on Saturdays, 4 weeks of,
That would be better than every other week.
I think so.
and then we can really see when people are showing up, if it's a Saturday or a Sunday.
I think that's a good idea. Do it, try it on an alternate monthly basis for now, and see what we get.
So then, if we don't have enough volunteers, are we asking our staff to work on a Sunday?
We are, yeah.
And if they're not okay with that, we're gonna go to other staff members and tell us.
You're gonna pay them double.
No, I'm just asking.
That's a good question.
Because,
Yeah, my father plowed snow for Clay County for a lot of years, running grader. We have a storm on Saturday and Sunday, he plowed Saturday and Sunday. Monday and Tuesday he took off. So if you're not asking to work more hours, just Monday, Tuesday hours. I coach forever. If you're a coach, you sign up for coaching, you work Saturdays, you work weekends, and it's part of the job. When these guys signed their contract, I'm assuming there would be some weekends involved. I'm not saying work more hours, I'm just saying give them time off during the week.
right, and I appreciate that idea, but there is only one of us in our positions, and we have deadline-oriented activities. So like, for instance, the books have to be done on a certain day of the week. The bills to get ready for the meeting have to be done on a certain day of the week to have a deadline. Our office hours are Monday through Friday. You know what I mean? We each have specific duties in the office. And we do work on some Saturdays for other things also, like programs, which was included in the talk when we were hired. But not 2 or 3 or 4 weekend days a month, is my question for the board. It would be great if we could get volunteers, I don't know what else to do.
Well,
We'll keep working on it.
if we're running only Saturdays, we're talking 4, maybe 5 Saturdays, and 4, maybe 5 Sundays. I mean, you're willing to take a day. You're willing to take a day. We have 2 others that might, shoot, I can come down on a Saturday,
That'd be great.
So
not
that's,
gonna do Sundays.
I
Not something I
can
do,
do Sunday. I'm willing to step in.
so.
Just the afternoon, not all, just from like.
I understand.
I think from 1 to 4 is a good,
Can I ask
yeah.
something here?
I think
I
that's a
think that
good
people
time
know
slot.
that.
There's usually people waiting to come, but then by 4 o'clock, they're done coming.
Yep.
So
And
I think
also
1 to
like-
4 is a good time.
I think that people know know the hours.
Right.
We have it posted everywhere, it's on our brochures, it's on our Facebook, it's on the door. I think that people know that. It takes a minute to get the word out, is my only concern with flopping around. I don't want people to not understand.
That was my thing, in terms of confusion. And then the point was made, well, campers aren't, here on the weekends, and so they're looking for something to do on Saturday afternoon. So on that one particular month, then now it's not open on Saturdays, now it's open on Sundays, and then it's like, okay, but now where I'm a camper, but I'm leaving the campgrounds on Saturday or Sunday afternoon, so now it's not, I'm thinking it's confusion out there.
Well, we can post signs in the registration booths that just say, June we're open this day, July we're open this day. That way it's up there, and there's enough room for a camper around. Most campers around. We're in Heritage Center. I mean, they can get in and out there. So even if they're pulling out, they can come on a Sunday.
If they really want to.
If they really wanted to, there is a way.
That was just not Yep.
Ms. Figs.
I'm just a public school guy, but you've got 8 employees here,
Yep.
okay? 8 times 40 is 320 hours a week. If you take that by 7 days, that's 45 man-hours a day. This shouldn't even be a question. They should, I work seasonal too. I know you're gonna put more hours in the summer, but these guys are not doing umpteen things in the wintertime. This shouldn't even be an option. You open the business. The money was spent to build this thing for the county. It's a county service. It needs to be open. And it shouldn't rely on, we've got enough employees. This shouldn't be, we gotta have volunteers. I mean, they can work a couple Saturdays a month or a couple weekends a month. I had a daughter working a farrowing unit. She ended up working 3 weekends a month. And she was comped a day during the off week. I mean, it's part of business. You gotta be open so the people can use it, unless you don't want people to use it.
Well, I find it very interesting too that the Dickinson County Center is not open on Sunday. Now, that is an area where there's a lot of people that are camping, that they're vacationing and whatever else. So whatever reason, they made the decision not to open on Sundays, they are camping on Saturdays, I'm not sure. I'd have to look back and see. So I'm thinking it's like, you know, I have worked on Sundays, I volunteered on Sundays and nobody's enjoyed it. But we're working on a limited amount of volunteers, then it's like, okay, so where, you know, and consistency. I guess I'm finding this, yeah, an interesting conversation.
But when it was built, did they figure they'd run it with strictly volunteers? Was that the intent at the time? I don't remember what it was.
I think it
It wasn't
was,
around.
and I think there were a lot of volunteers that were there, and I think it was the fact that it was going to be run by volunteers. And it was not going to be staff, you know, run by staff. And so, and it was, and it ran for a number of years, you know, with volunteers. And then the volunteers started aging out. And we were having problems in the last 3 or 4 years in terms of finding a number of volunteers to consistently, you know, to be there. And so, you know, I'm all for being there, you know, open on the weekends. I'm thinking a lot of people, when I've been there on Sunday afternoon, they're, you know, just driving around and deciding that, oh, you know, I should stop and visit and see what's here. And so, yeah, I think times have changed in terms of, you know, the original intent and to where we are now in terms of still looking for and getting a new set of volunteers that are willing to come in. You know, people want it, but are they going to be willing to volunteer to do it?
That's the thing, volunteers are hard to find no matter what you're in. Fire departments are struggling, ambulance services are struggling, anywhere there's a volunteer position, everybody wants a service, they don't necessarily want to do it. So it's not just conservation, everybody's struggling to find a volunteer.
Well, my concern is our busy summer months, our people they're running ragged already. And, yeah, you might have that compensation later on. In the wintertime, they're not working so much, and so they can work on the weekends and have the center open. But not as many people come in the wintertime either.
I don't know what the rules are, but my brother worked for DOT for like 20 years, and that when they plowed snow in the winter, they could either get paid or they could get time off, and he always took the time off in the summer. Is that not a?
Yeah, we give our folks comp time.
Yes.
We don't have the option of getting paid or not.
They just get comp time.
We
You
just
just
get
get
comp
comp
time.
time.
You mentioned you guys volunteering, and it's great that you do. You didn't say anything about the Rangers. did
Well,
you?
they do weekends, they're on a rotational basis, they do Friday, Saturday, all day Sunday. They're out in the mornings and all day.
Out from bottom.
Well, the bottom line here is we have to get our work done first before that center is open on the weekends. Can we get our work done in the summertime?
We take time off, rain is a little tougher.
Does Sioux County run their nature center with a paid staff on the weekends? I didn't think so.
They just started being open on Sundays because of the volunteers. Yeah, I mean, like the volunteer numbers is my understanding.
You said,
And Lyon County just opened.
Yeah.
They don't have any data to do yet, but are they? They're
I
not-
don't know their intention. Do you
No,
hear it at D3? Did you hear anything?
No, I don't even know. Yeah, they were there, but they never really said anything how it's being run. I didn't ask.
I'm gonna call Mr. Menard or Lou.
Yeah, see what he says.
Take his brain.
Yeah.
you said you didn't have the numbers, you emailed them, Amber, what is it, of the Saturday versus Sunday
I
numbers?
couldn't say that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Just for you guys, I don't know how, you could make any decision without, if it's clear that, 20% of people.
And that was pre-COVID. It's a lot different this year. Like I worked Saturday, nobody came.
But Sunday there was quite a few.
But Sunday there was 6 that came inside?
I've had.
No, there was 10.
10 outside or
10 that came in and 6 outside.
Okay.
Well, 2020 would be an outlier anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where
I've
that,
had up to 10 on Saturday.
this year is also
Yeah,
weird
10
still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not totally
I mean,
small.
it's coming back-ish, but it's not, I wouldn't say it represents, maybe we'll never have a
just keep working and see what we can find for help, and, you know, if we have to step in once in a while, we'll see how that goes. But, I mean, you know, if we have to, somebody can do, that's not on duty, I can do another, I can do some more too, so.
Yes, I'm not aware, are these volunteers first come, first served?
No,
Or if you don't get anybody to call, you call them?
No, so.
Okay, so it's first come, first served.
Yes, we ask, we have a monthly or sometimes more than monthly ask for volunteers. And we'll say, here are the weekend dates in this coming month. Would anybody be willing to sign up for any of these dates? And then Abby keeps a schedule and we fill it in.
You do have a running list though of people that have volunteered?
Yes.
Okay.
I would just say, I would be, from my experience at the center, concerned about doing every other for no other reason than I think that people would be confused about when. I think that's kind of actually a quick switch over this month, that month. I mean, it's better than every other weekend. That's just my input as having worked there at the center quite a bit.
I would agree with Amber. It's too confusing to the public to do it every other.
Okay, so I think we're back to two options. You either keep going like you are now, trying to cover both days, or we close on Sundays until we have some more volunteers. So which,
I wouldn't like, I'd rather do the latter.
you want to be closed
For
on
the
Sundays
time
now?
being, until we can get working and rolling like we need to.
As soon as you have
Yeah, we'll
six
see, we
to
gotta
10
have, we
volunteers.
gotta have 10 probably to make it work, I would think, when you have at least 10.
Yeah. I would think 8 to 10.
So, yeah.
With Abby and I, if you're willing
I'm willing to put in.
to still fill in, because I think we'll still have some holes with 8 to 10.
What does onboarding volunteers look like?
What's your pick?
How hard is it to onboard new volunteers?
No, so you just say, I'll help out on Sunday. You
There is an
there's nothing.
application.
Yeah, we have an application.
Okay. So the volume ambulance, like we said, it's hard to get volunteers doing anything. Paulina, I mean, a year ago, it was said there's two people involved. Right now, there's probably 12, if there's not more. A big part of what it was, other than just community talking, was a letter with a plea to people, you know. They obviously spent a little bit of their money to send out letters to everyone in the city to say, here's where we're at, this is what's going on. And there's a lot of hurdles, right? You don't just show up and say, I'm an EMT.
We can try.
You have to like give up a big chunk of your life to do
We can try
that.
that, but for now, we're gonna, we'll have to probably just do the Saturday thing for now. And then we'll keep working on figuring out what we can do as a staff and keep working on launching. That's what I think we should do right now.
That is a good idea though for one more step on outreach. I mean, we didn't add in a newspaper, have the brochures, we did a Facebook, have our website.
Reach out and,
So these are the visitor numbers.
but I think for now, we're Saturday, we want 1 to 4. We will get enough people and figure out some staffing things, how we can make this work. Or to help out the staff, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, we need to figure out how that's gonna work, so I think for now, we'll just continue Saturdays 1 to 4.
Okay, board members, we need a
Yeah,
I need a motion on this. Now, how about the language, something like, we will continue to be open on Saturdays from 1 to 4, closed on Sunday temporarily until we have at least 10 volunteers that are reliable and trained and so on.
Yes.
And then we can open up Sunday again. So something along those lines. Amber, you got the idea of that?
I have another little thing about volunteers. We always wrote our numbers down, and then they gave us, I think it's $5 an afternoon, and then you could use that to buy gifts in the gift shop.
Okay, so that was actually through Little Sioux Valley. So $5 were Little Sioux, that wasn't
Have we
anything.
discontinued that? And if we're discontinuing the gift shop, I think the volunteers that have been volunteers should be given the opportunity to come and spend it. And some of them couldn't care less, but then other ones will say, oh, I'll get one of those for my
I can
grandchild.
look at that.
That would be a Willis Valley decision,
Right.
probably. How you
We
want to
can
do
sit
that?
down and discuss that, Dave.
Because that would be Willis Valley's
Yeah, but,
bike club.
But if we're eliminating the gift shop, we'll have to
well,
do it before.
So the gift shop has been closed for a while now.
So you just took everything off and put it
We
in a
put it out of
box?
the way, because we don't know what to do. And
yeah,
so
that
that,
was,
Sherry brought that up at the last meeting. We put the inventory out of the way, at least so people don't think there's a gift shop,
Okay.
so.
because it was confusing.
Yeah, because people would ask and then you have to tell the kids to put it back.
Can't have it, can't buy it.
No.
So so we need a motion for something.
Do you want to hear the visitor numbers from 2019 on Saturdays or Sundays?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because based on, so May of 2019, Saturday there was 81 visitors, Sunday there was 19. In June on Saturday there was 67, Sunday there was 39. July was a big month. On Saturday was 75, 72 on Sunday. In August, there was 99 on Saturday, Sunday there was 42. September, on Saturday there was 15, Sunday there was 11. And then in October, on the Saturday there was 48, and on Sunday there was 14. So there are larger discrepancies in numbers for May, June, August, and October. There was significantly more visitors on those Saturdays.
Significantly more on Saturday than on Sunday.
Then on the Sundays, yeah,
And Sundays were big on July.
in July.
Is that because are those numbers, do they include when, like you have the wetlands program?
Yes,
I threw
it does. So
one
like the
week out as
So
an
that's
outlier.
probably why.
I threw 1 week out as an outlier because it was, I gotta find it back. The Fall Fest, I threw that Saturday out and just didn't count that one. So in September, instead of having 15, it would have had about 160 people come through. But 143 of them were from Fall Fest, so I just didn't count that.
But I figure, they have wetlands and they have,
Yeah.
But that's in May, first or June.
So,
But it looks like July and August numbers are fairly high in both days, so it should be kind of the goal to get it all in both days.
I mean, yeah. Having June and July would be good to
But
have.
we can change this, we can change it anytime. Go back to Saturdays and Sundays anytime if we feel we have everything worked out.
Yeah, and I think that needs to be in motion.
I think that's the
As soon as-
goal, we just need to get there, so. So
I will move what you said.
Remind us what you said, please.
That we will remain to be open on Saturdays from 1 to 4, closed on Sunday temporarily until we have at least 10 volunteers and we know are reliable,
Yeah.
and then we'll open back up on Sunday.
seasonally still, correct? Sunday would be seasonally still. We're open May through October on Saturday and Sunday. Then the winter months, we're just open Saturday right now. Does that need to be included, or is it okay?
That's already, yeah, I don't think we have to include that. Okay, any questions? Who wants to make that motion?
Kathy did, I will.
Okay. We have a second?
I will second that with the stipulation of, I mean, I know you guys are working hard on finding volunteers. I've seen the advertisements. Does anybody have any suggestions? I mean, I'll make that second, we'll go there next.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
have some other time.
No stipulations.
Yeah.
No stipulations on there.
All right, move to second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion adopted. Okay, item number 3, McCormick Bridal Trails, information only.
Okay, so, we got some trails laid out. Dave and Patty met with Ryan, and then Jolene, Holtman came, and Amber and I met with her. We all trails they laid out, we marked out today with stakes and little ribbons so they can see where to go until the grass gets long enough we can mow the trails. And we think we can mow pretty much everything, just a few spots. We gotta go through the trees and move some brushes and stuff like that yet, but we put signs up showing where to park and then go this way to the trail. And we put signs up in the ditches, got permission from Scott Reinhardt, put signs up, and so we marked all those trails out, so we just got a few things to do. It should be ready for Monday.
Okay, super.
We did get the grant, it was fully funded, that Jolene wrote for. I believe it was the first one received in the state of Iowa from the National Outdoorsman Club. So I'll be working with Jolene to develop signage. She has some good contacts for signage, kiosk building, what's worked well at other trails that she's done. And then also, we talked about getting a work group together, hopefully sometime next month. And she identified some additional areas that we could probably put trails at the place besides where it was already marked, to give you some extra options. So once we can get that cleared, we can try to make that work too. So she's gonna check with the, I believe the secretary of the backcountry horsemen
For
of
the state.
Iowa for the state, and because they schedule all their work days on a calendar so that they don't overlap. And we'll try to get something scheduled there too, for volunteers to come help continue to do that trail.
What's the current length of the trail? And then we're proposing, Julian's proposing even more trails?
Yeah, we added just a little bit from what Jolene said, not a lot.
Okay, from what I could measure, I didn't measure it on the ground, but after we walk it, you can kind of see on the map, the trail is 1,956 feet long.
Right. And we
It
identified.
encompasses from this, if you take that trail, that covers 4.42 acres. That part of the trail.
Does that include on the way down there and on the way back?
No, it's a 1.72 mile ride to get to it
On the road.
on the road.
And in the ditch. We're gonna ride in the ditch, I think. Rail bed.
The rail bed?
Well,
No.
the part that we own, isn't it?
Yeah, you can ride on the park.
We
Is
own
that-
part of it.
It would be nice if that was marked, because
Yeah,
we
it would
walked
be
it.
nice if it was marked.
We walked it, and then afterwards I looked at the map again to see where the boundaries are.
Okay.
But
It's hard to tell.
It's hard to
Because
tell.
there's really no fences.
We looked,
any-
there
yeah,
isn't.
nobody's
But we
gonna
can,
ride in there.
we can mark.
Yeah.
That'd be helpful.
Yep, we can do that.
Because otherwise you don't know
We'll put some
where you're
stakes
at.
there, because the arrows that point you to go to the north and east toward the road that you go up to McCormick at, those are right there in the ditch. So they go right in our ditch area too, and the road bed's right there, so we can mark that. We'll mark it.
That would be very helpful.
That'd be very helpful.
Because I know where it is, looking at the map. when
I
I'm
know,
walking
most
it,
people
I
don't.
Yeah, and
Most people don't.
people are gonna be cautious and not going in. if you
Is
don't
that
know.
same triangle of public land you're talking about?
Yeah.
Correct.
So how far up the hill does it go, the triangle?
Quite a ways.
It does.
It goes straight with that road, east and west road club.
Yeah.
It goes straight up there, and then that road coming from McCormick's, it's straight up there, so it's a fairly
And I'm
good
not-
triangle.
But don't you have to cross Falk's land to get to that?
No, you can go down the road and you can go right in our
You
land.
can't, you go on that land and not trespass on Falk's.
Correct.
That's
But we're gonna have
that's why it'd be nice.
We're gonna have to do a little, like,
Yeah.
make sure we get the lines right, because there's really no fences or anything that give you any idea where
Yeah, we
hills.
looked.
And where hills, brush up against hills too.
Yeah, when I'm
No,
out there.
no, there is, we would have to take a look at that, we can do that.
I'm
I'm not
not
saying it's gonna be done by Monday, we can
No.
mark the road bed by Monday, but we
Yeah.
can take a look at the trail.
That is a good thing to make
I
sure
mean,
of.
Brian, you're positive now, from the road, if I go down the ditch, over the railroad track, and get up that hill, somewhere there, you can get in that land and not be on Falk's property.
Yes.
Yep, you go down the ditch.
Okay.
We'll just mark it. We'll have to mark it, because there's really nothing to
I
mark.
haven't told this before.
They're right, there's really not.
Looking at the beacon anyways, it goes right to the road.
Yeah, you should be good.
Okay, well, just mark it really well, I don't want to trespass.
And I did pull the traffic counts on that road because I was interested, and it's 13 vehicles a day. So it is a low traffic road.
Very low traffic road.
But no, we can mark that railroad bed.
Which road
Yeah.
is it?
The one that goes right down to McCormick.
Oh, that's
Wilson,
There we go, thank you, Wilson.
It's more deer watchers after 5
Yep.
when the traffic goes down.
That road's a way better than the road right onto the gravel road. For
Yeah.
horse.
Yes.
And I talked to Scott, the engineer, and they're not going to.
Okay.
Which is good.
It's better for horses to
Can
be on.
we at least put a little deal down the middle so that a van could get down there if Abby wants to take some kids out there to walk around? Just leave,
You could
he graded it really wide.
It's
Yeah,
it's
nice.
nice. So if we can get a track down the middle, and we can probably do that ourselves. Get the gravel from Scott, and we have a dump truck, and we can gravel it.
So that it's multi-use.
Yep. Just, I mean, Abby, we've talked about in the grant, I think they talked about maybe, using for environmental ed too at different times, just so
Be a great piece to do
get down
that.
there.
Yeah, it's more trails.
You can put them on the back of a horse and take them up the road too.
Yeah, you could. You could. Yeah.
Trail.
That's it.
Okay, so you mentioned a work group from Pine Country. How do we get the word out to O'Brien County folks?
Well, I was at
Most of the kids are
Bertram.
sitting here.
Yeah, I was at Bertram and it was mostly O'Brien County folks a week, it was a week or two ago.
So
I mean, they have-
Jolene organizes that.
Okay.
She wasn't there at Bertram when I was
Oh,
there.
well,
She
she
was
said
there
she
that
was there the
Wednesday,
other day,
some
so I don't know when that was, a week ago, or I don't know.
Two, maybe
Yeah, I don't know.
Saturdays.
As long as if we're kind of done with the trail talk, but that McCormick property in general, when I was looking at that, to measure that from the air, there's, part of that property goes across the water rim.
Yeah.
And,
It does.
and it's surrounded by the DNR ground. But when I pull that map up, it looks like the DNR, this is probably a 3 or 4-year-old map, but it looks like the DNR had row crop in that.
And they don't
I
anymore.
was wondering if if the county got any kickback from them
No.
for the rent?
I don't know that I'll be honest with you, Dave, I'm not sure, but they don't have any row crop in there now.
No, I noticed that the other day when we
They
walked.
seeded it down because it was row crop before, I think, and then they seeded it down to
When there was a
CRP.
stammer piece.
Yeah, when it was a stammer piece, they were back in there, I believe.
Okay.
Probably back
No.
when Stammer, when Neil Jurgensen farmed it, I bet.
Well, I'm guessing it's part of the food plot, that was a little larger.
No, I don't know what your map looks like, but I know Neil Jurgensen farmed that piece for a lot of years.
Okay. Yeah, see, it doesn't tell me what date or
Oh, okay.
what year the map's from, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Which is now seeded in the CRP.
It's all CRP.
Okay, but the word will get out
Yep.
about a rotation.
Yep.
All right, very good. All right, on the new business. All right, item 1, why do we need a motion for this? So item 1 is my resignation from the board. And most of you know that my wife and I are retiring here in about 3 weeks, and we're moving outside of O'Brien County, closer to family. So it has been a great pleasure to work on this board and work with such great people that you have accomplished a lot of things, good things for this county. And I know you will continue to do so, so it's been a pleasure.
I don't think it's fair to say that you accomplished it, because we did it.
We,
Yeah. So may I say something?
Sure.
Is that all right? Can I approach you?
Be careful, Roy.
Right?
what would you like?
Okay, what would I like? Well, sir, I would like to give you a card, and I kept counting 30 cupcakes here, so, thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. These are frosted.
Miss Kathy also brought treats.
Yeah.
So whenever it works in your,
We're gonna wait till the end.
whenever it works in your agenda, to have, if you want to share. No, you don't have to. It's a gift, so, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, and yes, we will dig into those when we adjourn.
Then walk around.
Yeah.
Walk it on. Okay, so,
Thank you for allowing me to approach.
thank you very much. Appreciate it. So, I don't remember us having a motion before when somebody resigned. meet then?
I believe we have.
Okay.
I believe we have.
It's been a long
It's
time.
been a while.
It's been a while.
Okay, so I guess we need a motion. I can't make it.
I guess you're stuck.
I'll make a motion to accept Roy's resignation.
With regret.
With regret.
I'll second. All right, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion adopted. Thank you. All right, do we need to choose a new chairman tonight, or can I wait till June? Okay. I can wait.
Yes.
All right, item 2, camping rules and regulations.
Yep.
Information.
Amber and I went through this, and this is just a general, some of these rules are on our, as you can see, the following page are on the park rules and regulations. Some of them are a little different, but this is generally what we go by.
Any major changes?
No.
No.
Thank you.
And of course, these are posted at every park.
And despite the terrible weather, people are camping. Down has been full.
That is that. I don't do it all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great improvement. Is this on our website as well? I imagine.
I will put it on our website. The website is still under construction, but it is, these are the signs that are posted everywhere.
There's some
These are some
crossover,
things that are
but not
posted
much, but they're
elsewhere or else on the camping registration invoice, but yes. All the information.
I have one question. Alcoholic beverages, it says, you know, Sunday machines, something alcohol.
Okay,
It's
this
prohibited
is
in
new, I
contracts.
see.
But then it says
This year.
containers of beer, including candy or larger than 1 gallon in size are prohibited. So are they, is everything prohibited, or is it just you can have some or
These are
not?
just general rules.
So, that is a good question. My understanding, you can double check with Ryan and Ryan,
Not that I'm planning
is
on.
that you can have no hard liquor, no.
Not general.
But you can have cans.
That's my understanding.
Well,
Is that correct?
I was just,
Can't
that
be.
teach alcohol.
No on the beach, not
On
on
the
the beach.
beach,
Can't have
no.
anything on the beach.
Can't have anything on the beach, nope.
So she's asking,
Had it
this
for
one
other
says
problems.
no alcohol at all. But what do we allow?
What do we allow? If you're coming and camping, you're going to be able to have beer or a drink.
Okay.
You just can't take
Just
it.
no
You
case.
can't take it down.
No kegs in the campground.
Never
Don't,
had that.
don't sit your food bottles outside on picnic tables that you can have a drink from, so choose to do so. We understand that people are there to enjoy themselves, and as long as they don't get carried away, we're not gonna have any problems.
Ryan, why are you looking at me?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize.
You'll know.
What I can do sometime.
It was just a little ambiguous, so we just.
Sorry, I don't know what.
I understand.
Okay. If there's no questions about that, item 3, law enforcement operations policy.
Okay, so we haven't had any kind of policy before. So I talked to Bruce Devereaux, that's been a few months back, and he gave me a copy of their policy and said, you can use whatever you need to use for yours, and take out whatever you don't think is germane to your organization. And he said, you should have no problems, because we've had this for several years, and so we thought it's better to have something in place than nothing. The way things are with any kind of law enforcement nowadays. So he said the only time you're probably going to use it is if something happens that isn't good, and they're going to refer to your policies. So we went through it. I talked to him again yesterday, and so we would like you to approve this so that we have something in case we run into some problems. You never know.
Yeah, the sheriff kind of,
He had no problem with us doing whatever we needed to do this. He just said if it's good enough for us and it's on file currently at our facility, it should be good enough for you. And so we took a few things out, and not a lot. And we left a couple things in that maybe don't apply to us now, but they might in the future. He thought it was better to have a policy than not and have to start from scratch and make another policy.
so he's kind of encouraging us to
Yes,
get
he
something in
thought it was
place.
time to have something in place.
So we need a motion on it.
Yes, we do.
I move that we adopt it.
through.
Thanks, Mike.
Did you change anything at all from this?
Nothing but some of the sheriff's department, like the Bryan County Sheriff's Department is now county conservation. That's about it. And like I said, we took some things out that we didn't think would apply to us, and I talked to him yesterday and told him what we had done. He said most of these things are generic in nature, and at one time, the county attorney looked this over and approved it, and so we should be in good shape. See, that's why I was looking at you.
She's got it down.
Yes, I got it, yeah, it's a cake, sorry. It's a cake.
A lot of verbiage on pursuits,
Yes, there is. And we've already,
but it does say you can choose whether or not you want to pursue.
right.
Yeah, they've had quite a few lately too.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not a big believer in pursuits when you know who it is, you got radios, you're putting yourself in danger too.
No, I,
And this addresses that. What is smaller?
You think?
Well, it looks like one.
Use of force doesn't say anything about putting a knee on your throat. Just kidding.
I really didn't fly too well, did it, Jack?
Some people need it though.
Common sense?
Yeah, true. What you need?
Well, we've got a motion.
Right after that, Dorothy, straight back.
Anybody need a few more minutes?
It's an opportunity.
I'll be honest with you, when I was talking with Bruce, he said, you really don't look at it very often, so he couldn't really, he can't tell you what's in this whole thing, either word, verbiage, and all of that. He said, yeah, but, it's better to have it there, so
We got good guys on.
they have attorneys involved, they'll be looking at it, and they'll ask what do you need, what do you have in place for that kind of incident, or whatever you want to do.
So Brian, are you planning on doing any training with your rangers?
We train every year.
To this policy?
Oh, I'll probably have them read it, and try to make so they understand what's all going down here, but as far as classes or anything like that, probably not. They could probably read it, that would be very good.
Is this information that they would have already been trained in your law enforcement academy?
No, this
Or this pertains to a record?
This just pertains to each action or what would happen, or what your policy is in case you get into pursuit, or in case you get into a position of use of force with a weapon or whatever, tasers, whatever.
Is this something you would have done in your law enforcement training?
well, like tasers and stuff, we don't carry yet, so obviously I.
We're gonna, we will, that is in here and we will keep it in here because when I talked to Bruce, he says, because we've had conversations where we might get their tasers when they get released, and so the policy is already in place then, and then we don't have to worry about it. We thought it was better to have a policy in place and not have them, than have them and not have a policy. So if we do get those in the future, which is a possibility, we already have a policy in place, and it would be their policy.
And if any rangers have questions or feel like they need additional information or training, I'm sure
Oh, yeah.
the sheriff could
Yeah.
help you out with that.
Yeah, Bruce is good.
Yeah. Okay, we're still needing a second.
I'll second.
Okay, moving second to adopt law enforcement operations policies for Bryan County conservation law. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion adopted. All right, that's it. Any other business? If not, we are adjourned. Thank you very much. And please come up here and have some cupcakes and some water up here. We forgot to mention this Iowa, the latest edition of the Iowa magazine is about our grain bin cabins out at Dog Creek.